Hi everyone, it's James here from the Studio Rats. Bass. We all love a nice fat, or should that be fat with a PH, bass end to our tracks. It's got to be solid and give our music a good, firm foundation. And while it's easy to just crank up the bass end of an EQ or an EQ plugin, getting the right amount of bass into our mix and getting the bass instrument to cut through can be tricky. I am a massive fan of the Waves Lord-Alge signature bass plugin, and while yes, I know it's getting on a bit, right now Waves have a very special deal where they're doing an entire CLA bundle promotion, so you can get all the CLA signature plugins along with CLA compressors and a host of other goodies for one super low price. However, this is not a marketing campaign, so let's take a closer look at my favourite bass plugin, the Waves CLA Bass plugin. Let's start by taking a quick look over the plugin, and you can see it's very much business as usual when it comes to layout. On the far left, we have the input gain with its own input level metering. We find the bass sliders with sub, lower and upper categories. Treble, but think of this as more of a mid-range control with controls for honk, bark and cut. Then we have the compressor, and the compression settings are very much the same as the CLA drums plugin. So we've got push, spank and wall. Then we have the sub slider, which I think is the real heart of this plugin. We then have the distortion slider, and if you didn't know already, adding distortion to a bass, especially a bass guitar part, can really help the bass track sit and blend into a mix. And we have 3 settings for this: growl, raw and rip. Next we have the pitch slider with settings for chorus, wide and spreader, and finally we have the output metering and the output level slider to help us keep control of our gain staging and our signal chain. Right now I'm working on a track by British artist Benjamin Bloom called Chinese Whispers, and this song has 2 bass tracks, a bass guitar part and a synth bass part. It's very much a work in progress, but let me play the track for you now. Let's start with the bass guitar part first. So one of the things I find interesting with the CLA plugins is that even when all the setting sliders are off or in bypass, the plugin is still doing some processing. It's making some magic. This is CLA's default bass chain recreated in plugin form. So even when there are no adjustments being made, we're still getting improvements to our sound. I'm going to start with the sub, as this is like putting a sub-kick style mic in front of the bass cabinet, and it really brings DI or direct amp parts to life. Now let's add some compression, not too much, I just want to even out the notes. Now let's add some distortion to give this bass track some bite. Let's ease into some EQ. Now let's make the tone more interesting and add some pitch effects. I'm going to settle on just a little chorus in this case. Now let's pop it back in the track and take a listen. So I'm really happy with how that's working. Let's take a listen to the synth bass part. It's an interesting sound for a kind of rhythmic pumping part, but I'm pretty sure we can do better. Using the CLA Bass plugin and the tools we've just learnt, I'm going to dial in the bass part to get something more interesting that's going to work well alongside the bass guitar part. Now, let's take a listen to the two together. And now in the track.
Say it loud, and you stand out in the crowd. See the glint in their eyes as they take in all your lies. Talk to her, talk to him. It's a game of Chinese whispers.
Now what I could do is put a gate on the synth part and use the bass guitar part to trigger the gate, which might make the two parts feel more tight, more together. But I think that's one for a future video. Please do remember to hit like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up to date with all the Studio Rats action. And also, if you'd like to add the CLA Bass plugin or the full CLA bundle to your plugin arsenal, please do click the links below in the notes to help us out. Just follow the links to the Waves store pages. So I really hope you enjoyed that. My name's James Ivey from the Studio Rats, and I'll see you again very soon.